Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us today. My name is Erin. I'm on the marketing team here at Copper, and we are going to be running over a little bit more about our brand, why we made the change, and what's next for our product. So I am joined here today by Morgan Norman and John Adiano. Morgan is our Chief Marketing Officer. He comes to us from Dialpad, and previously he's held leadership positions at Zuora, NetSuite, and Microsoft. He is super passionate about customer acquisition, brand strategy, demand generation, and operations, and helps our marketing team stay afloat here at Copper. John is our Chief Product Officer. He comes to us from the world of Salesforce, so very well versed in the CRM world. He was leading the Service Cloud group there, and prior to that, he was a product leader at Desk.com. He loves all things product management, strategy, and UX, and helps keep our product team afloat here. And they are going to be running you through. I'll give you the quick agenda for today. You'll hear us talk a lot about the relationship era, over the coming months. It's something we feel really passionately about, so we're going to kind of give you a peek into what that actually means and how that's leading where our product is going. We'll give you a little bit more insight into the rebrand, what happened, why we did it, what Copper actually means. And then for those of you on the line who may not be quite as familiar with, Copper and what we do here, we'll give you a little insight into our product, our vision, and then for those folks who are customers on the line and partners, of course, we'll give you a little insight into what's next for our product. And then we will be holding all questions until the end, but feel free as they come up during our presentation to pop them into the Q&A panel at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we will try and get through as many of those as we can. We will be sending out a recording of this session afterwards, so you will have that to revisit if you so choose. And now I'm going to pass it off to Morgan, and she will give you a little bit of the brand rundown.
Thanks, Erin, and good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you are. We want to basically start off with a little bit of a story here and level set our journey to the rebrand and really how the CRM industry is shifting. But to start with this is, Copper today, we have over 12,000 customers in over 110 countries. They fit across every segment. And we spent the last couple months doing studies with them, and we also did a study that was sponsored by Google to see how people work and how people work on relationships. So we want to share our findings with you. So the first thing we learned is every business needs to be a relationship business today. And I think a lot of you folks out there, this isn't a surprise. You're working on lasting relationships. You're trying to understand how you can build repeat business. But this is the big, focus for the C-suite, whether that's CEOs, CIOs, CFOs, and they're thinking about the technology that will enable them to build lasting relationships and how do they shift from this transactional model. So you see a lot of this already. So there's more evidence that the best companies in the world are really relationship businesses. And I think you recognize a variety of these logos. I bet, 80% of you, if you're in the US, are Netflix subscribers. A lot of you probably have tried Fitbit, and that's your data. Some of you might have your homes on Nest or have really strong relationships with coffee and Starbucks everywhere you go. But the real key about these companies is they've thought about how they think about their people, how they enable their people with technology, and how they actually think about long-term relationships differently. And there's a lot that we can borrow, and there's a lot we think about with this. Another really cool fact, this was really interesting. So we thought we would get responses in this study just from sales, customer service, maybe some marketers. But what we found out is everyone in your business is a relationship maker today. And it's pretty logical. When you think about design and product, they're obviously interfacing with customers, but in a very unique way. That could be self-service, that could be your website, it could be actually other parts of your product, and as well as engineering. When you think about finance, whether that's from a billing perspective, when you think about people ops, how do they enable folks? But everyone in your business is a relationship maker, and this is really the end of the traditional back office, and the end of these traditional roles we thought of where it was just sales or just customer support. So think about that when you think about technology. So we talked about this as across every industry. There isn't one industry where we didn't find this. If you want to download the study, it's about 30 pages. Every different industry had these same patterns. And what there was a core foundation was that in the relationship era, and this is what we're calling this new movement, and there's a lot of different movements out there, but in this relationship era, the relationships, or instead of just customers, are really the foundation, and that people are looking at the lifetime value of these customers for you. The other big shift, which I've kind of plugged on earlier, is it's a shift from a transaction to this lasting motion, and that changes every way we operate, right? From the first time they interact with your product, to service, to help, to deployment, and then repeat business or referral business. And another key factor that's really driving this movement is, because of the way customers or partners can interact with you, or even your employees, every relationship touch point matters. So you have to look at all of that and how you're capturing that information. Okay, so some raw stats that came out of this, and some surprising ones, is that 93% of customer communication is happening in email or Gmail. This was primarily a Google-based study. Totally shocking to us. We thought it would be about 50, 60%, maybe a little bit higher. So the real issue that people are having is that information's not being captured. It might be captured on one moment on a sales side, but maybe there's service different responses. Maybe there's actually marketing responses or CEO responses that aren't really captured. We've actually automated a variety of that. Another interesting factor is people are moving out of just email, and they're moving to collaborating with partners and customers in docs, slides, and sheets. Also really a shocker here. I figured that it would be probably around 30%, 35%, but you can see this is really climbing at a pretty far clip. And then everyone wants to be unique. 85% of folks want a personalized interaction. They don't want your canned responses. They want something that's unique to their specific role, their specific use case, or their specific industry. So that brings us to this next piece, is like Hello Copper. So we've spent some time thinking about our previous name and thinking about our journey. And what happened was we've scaled, as I mentioned, all across the world. And we wanted to create a relatable brand that helped work for some of these companies who want to be more agile if they're in the enterprise, or they want to be a fast mover if they're a continued startup. So when we look at Copper, the real core foundation is the CRM that works for you. And this has been a journey we've been on since 2014. And John Aniano is going to talk about that journey. And what we mean by that is automating data entry. And he's going to talk about more specific insights. But, a foundation of CRM, I don't know how many of you folks are familiar with CRM. John and I have been in the space for about 15 years. But just to level set, when you think about CRM or the technology, is it had a great wave of evolution in the early 2000s, but then it got really stagnant. It started, if you go in the 1980s, that was actually deals that was designed around ERP. That really quickly went into the 90s, where it was like, hey, how do I manage a sales team? Siebel was the first player out there. And there was others as well. And that was really about reporting and analytics, about managing your team, managing your customers. What happened in the early 2000s is reports became broader. It wasn't just for sales teams. They started joining data with some integrations. And then in 2010, we saw this new wave of customer experience. And this included, not just service partners like, Zendesk, but it also included a lot of marketing partners like Marketo and Eloquent. They thought about all these different touch points. But now today, were great motions. We're really into this relationship first type of business. Sometimes this also includes subscription-based businesses. Sometimes this mapping out the entire journey, but it's really enabling everyone to manage all their different types of relationships in one system. So this is our new look and feel. So what did we do in the journey to this rebrand? One is we obviously changed our name. Some of you folks got that existing update. We changed some of our positioning. We believe the CRM space doesn't really relate to a lot of our customers. That was some of the feedback we got. We wanted it to be relatable. We wanted to speak the way they spoke. We wanted a look and feel that highlighted people versus just technology, and how technology joins people together. And from a name perspective, we went into a lot of exploration around the name. There's a variety of names we were looking at, but we eventually chose Copper because one, it's been an element since the beginning of time. Two, it conducts energy, and that really symbolized relationships for us, the most important element that we want to help people build. And then finally, it's been part of currency for thousands of years, which ultimately a lot of us are building businesses that rely on currency models. So if you're not familiar, for those folks, some of you folks know that the product is just at a core foundation is we're really focused on productivity. What we mean by that is relationship management. That's every type of relationship, not just leads and accounts. Obviously, we want to automate a lot of the busy work. So we do a lot of things in sales automation. We do a lot of data entry. We log a lot of information, but there's some exciting stuff to come. You'll see it in a couple secs. Deal management, that's some of the bread and butter in CRM. We do that. We do it in a visual way. We allow it to actually work around your specific processes. And then we do a ton with relationship insights. We just had a major release around that. So our core is we've focused our foundation on Google, on working with Google. And one of the key things is that we believe CRM and productivity are better together. Most of our customers, they will work directly out of Gmail. They'll work with the Gmail add-on. We really, as I've talked about, focus on automating a lot of the data entry. We've enhanced our product over the years with, integrations with Drive, Sheets, and Docs. Another thing most people don't know, which makes up and running pretty easy, is we're built on Google's material design. If you're not familiar with it, that's actually a design system that allows everything in Google and all products within Google to scale. And there's very few products that actually are leveraging this across the board. We're one of the early ones on the enterprise side to do this. And John's going to spend some time to talk about what it's like to go live and why is there no training required. So for those folks, there's lots of folks that are just from the sales side, but what we see is from an industry is all of you manage very different types of relationships. So these are some of the core industries we deal with. Obviously, real estate, technology is some of our soup and bread, consulting and services. You've heard from some of our customers out there what they do and how they manage those types of relationships. And obviously, we're massive sprint. We have a massive sprint in media and agencies, and as well as publishers. And all of these people have different types of relationships. But I also want to highlight, we're not going into this today, is that each one of your teams can manage their different relationships without heavy customization. It can just be configured by them. So that is, if you had a business development team, and as well as a corp dev team, as well as a sales team, and then maybe you're managing marketplace relationships like developer relationships. All of that can be managed in our system, and that's what makes us unique. We can actually help all your people get those relationships that are in email, stuck in Sheets, into one system, and they can manage it in different visual funnels or whatever the process they would need to. Some cool stats. These are actually real customer stats from surveys we did. We actually have a deeper ROI study that you can interact with the team in. But I'll just highlight a couple things. Is a lot of folks come to us just because they want to save time. And you see 8 hours. We see 8 to 14 hours on data entry saved per week. And once you get the data that's accurate, everything gets a little bit easier. You have a data model that works for you. One is you get 50% more accurate reporting. That's going to help improve your forecast. You see 40% there. And ultimately, this will drive a faster response time, which will help you grow your business and grow your customers. All right, so I'm going to hand it off to John Aniano, good friend of mine. What he's not going to tell you is he's a mean karaoke singer. He's going to walk you through a lot of super exciting stuff that's coming. He's got some hidden stuff he's not going to show, but we're super pumped on what's going to come out through this year. So John, take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Morgan, and thank you, Aaron, for kicking this off. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I see my audio is coming through on the webinar. And I do have to apologize. There will be no singing on this webinar, unless maybe we do some during the question and answer portion. But Morgan's got a good singing voice as well. So what I'm here to do today, by the way, and it's relatively new for me. I'm 8 months on the job here at Copper, as Morgan mentioned, coming over from Salesforce. Super excited about the way Copper has changed the way that CRM works. And that all starts with the founding of Copper in 2014 and its relationship with Google. So if you look at all of these beautiful bullet points on the slide over the last 5 years, every single year we have, Copper has moved the product forward with new ways that CRM and Google can work together. So we launched with our flagship Google email and calendar sync integration. It was brand new at the time. Nobody else was doing it. And our customers absolutely loved it and we built success together with those customers to carry us forward. We had one of the first Google Sheets integrations. We were one of the first Google apps inside of the sort of Gmail add-on space. We have a great and amazing slides integration that we launched in 2016. In 2017, we brought a whole bunch of sort of innovation into the productivity plus CRM space. And we also, a milestone in our company history, we got backed by some great firms, Norwest Venture Partners and Google Ventures themselves. now called GV, by the way. And then this year, and I don't know how many of you saw what we did at Google Next, but we just launched something. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, to bring another Google product into the fold, and that's Google Data Studio. And so now you can do all of your Copper reporting inside of Google's awesome and amazing visualization product called Data Studio. So we have had a really great, really fast-moving 5 years, sort of bringing CRM and productivity together like you've never seen before. Morgan already mentioned this, but I think the core part of our product here is the ability for you to capture relationship moments and to do that without you having to input any of the data. So we automatically create leads for you. We automatically just pull in all of the contact data that you have with your customers, whether that's emails, whether that's Drive files, whether that's calendar events. It all gets pulled into the system, and it all gets automatically characterized and tagged as the appropriate relationship moments. We do this, with proposals. We do this when you start projects with your customers. All of this now sort of is captured inside of Copper. And then I think, sort of the next thing that is really exciting about Copper is that you don't actually have to log into a separate CRM tool. And so that's why when we thought about starting Copper, we thought about working directly from Gmail. And so if we look at sort of the next slide in the webinar, I think, the stats change on this, daily, but I think there's a certain significant portion of our customer base, let's say, 50 to 60%, they almost never log into the web app. They are living inside of Copper, right inside of Gmail, all day long. So, if your job is to manage relationships, and as Morgan said, you're doing 93% of that relationship management via email, Copper brings that stuff front and center. So when you're writing an email, when you receive an email, we pull up the contact information, we pull up the company information, and all of the relationship information that Copper stores is right there, right in front of you, inside of where you work, inside of Gmail. We actually just recently brought that a little bit forward in that we released a functionality called Meeting Scheduler. So now, not only are you inside Gmail, but Copper is also powering your Google Calendar. So if you need to schedule a meeting with a customer, if you need to schedule a meeting with a prospect, if you need to schedule a meeting with people on your team, you can fire off what's called a Meeting Scheduler link, similar to, if you've seen how a product like Calendly works. You can fire off an email, fire off a meeting request, and we'll bring your customer into an experience where they can pick a free slot on your Google Calendar and start a meeting with you. So we, from the very beginning, Copper's thought about how can we be the CRM that works inside of your productivity tools, and that's what you see with our sort of Gmail extension, Meeting Scheduler, and all the areas where we live inside of G Suite. And the other thing, and I mentioned this earlier, but I think one of the big reasons why Copper, why our customers love Copper, and where we're helping our customers be more successful, is that we have really striven to eliminate data entry. And so if you look at what happens on the first day that you sign up for a Copper account, we automatically suck in all of your emails and calendar events. We create contacts for you. We actually build your entire CRM database without you having to put in any information. And what we do is we make sure that as your company grows, as you add new people, as you bring on new customers and leads and prospects, you don't have to put that data into the system. It automatically comes into the system for you. And we go one step further and we enrich that information. So if somebody emails you and you don't necessarily have all their contact information in the system, we have a data enrichment service that automatically assigns the right company to that person that emailed you, that automatically fills out some of their contact details from a large array of contact information we have available inside of Copper. So we are not only automatically pulling all your data in, but we're automatically making it better without you having to enter any data, without you having to do any research on your own. And so this is one of the reasons why people come to Copper, but it's also one of the main reasons why people stay with us and grow with us, because we save all of that time. And, Morgan showed, saves 8 hours a week per person on data entry. That's a massive value proposition. That's a lot of productivity you get back in your day. And then, again, Morgan talked about how how we work across so many industries and how we have 12,000 Google customers of many different sizes and shapes. Well, I think one of the reasons for that is that this product from the very beginning has been extremely flexible in the way that you manage your business process. And so we call these business processes pipelines inside of Copper. But whether you're doing sort of a business development pipeline or a standard B2B sales pipeline, whether you're doing a sort of project management pipeline or partnerships group, or whether you're in real estate, media, ad buying, it doesn't matter. Everybody can customize sort of the business process that they're managing inside of Copper. And you can do that without hiring an admin or going through some sort of massive online training course. The ability to customize the UI, customize the pipelines, and customize your business processes in Copper is something that's sort of built in right into the UI for any end user to sort of be able to learn and quickly adjust. And this is an area where we're continuing to invest. It's an area where our customers are really excited about the things that you're able to do inside of Copper. But it's also a cornerstone of our product, the ability to very, very simply, with very little investment, customize Copper to manage any sort of business pipeline you have, any sort of business process you have, quickly and easily. And then finally, and I think, I don't know why this is the last slide, but I think it's, or one of the last slides in the product section. I think from the very beginning, Copper has made collaboration, whether that's internal collaboration or collaboration with the customer, with your customers or your partners themselves, sort of a central sort of capability of Copper. And so every time a new email comes into the system or a new calendar event comes into the system, or docs are created or managed, that stuff shows up in an activity stream where you can collaborate on a particular company or contact or business process or pipeline. And all of that stuff is represented visually inside of Copper. We have awesome, important capabilities like @mentions, and our activity stream sort of integrates directly with Google Hangouts, and also if you use Slack, it integrates with Slack, so that the information and everything that's occurring inside of the activity stream inside of Copper can also show up inside of your productivity apps or your collaboration apps that's outside of Copper. So this is, again, a massive area of investment for us. It's a key sort of cornerstone of Copper. Collaboration is not some add-on thing. It's not something that was developed, 5 years into Copper's history. Collaboration has been a sort of key activity stream directly inside of Copper from the very beginning. And we talked about this earlier, but I sort of can't overstate. My history in CRM, and I'm getting sort of old now, has been, CRM used to be this massive app that used to go through some sort of huge business process scoping experience in order to decide how you want your CRM implemented, and then you would take 2 to 6 weeks to really flesh that out, and sometime in the first 60 or 90 days you might have a CRM up and running. Copper has taken the opposite approach. We want to make sure that if everybody needs CRM, and if you want to get up and get some value out of a CRM app immediately, you can deploy Copper in minutes. From the minute you sign up for a Copper trial or you sign up for a Copper account, your data starts coming into the system. We have some great data import tools. The customizations are super easy. You don't need training. You don't need consultants. You don't need a massive sort of online course to get Copper up and running. And we don't sort of hit you with hidden costs as you try to sort of add or extend your usage of Copper. So deploying in minutes, getting value immediately out of the product is something we've always built in from the very beginning, and something we hold pretty dear here in Copper. And then, I think it needs to be said, businesses today, sort of whether you're a small business or whether you're sort of a larger business, that's really sort of expanding your use of technology or rethinking your technology stack. There are so many great apps and tools out there for running your business, whether that's Google Hangouts or Slack for collaboration, whether you're using accounting software like QuickBooks, whatever sort of mailing software you're using, whether that's like a mailer like MailChimp, or whether you're doing something larger like marketing automation through HubSpot or Marketo. You have a technology stack that powers your business, and Copper has always been, from the very beginning, interested in being just one of those tools you use and connecting with all of those other sort of best of breed tools that you have for the running the rest of your business. So Copper out of the box connects with a number of these apps. We have some amazing APIs and integration capabilities. For those of you who use Zapier, we have a very, very rich Zapier sort of community that is connecting with all the different business apps in the system. So all the business apps that you use. So this is an area where we will continue to invest, and it's an area that our customers are enjoying a lot of benefits from. And so, we're happy to see our customers being successful, sort of marrying Copper into their existing technology suite. All right, so I did want to hit this team with some things we're working on today that I'm really excited about. Where everything you just saw are things that we have live that our customers are using today. The next section will be things that we're currently working on that we want to bring to you in the near future. And I also want to get some feedback on maybe during the Q&A section. So hopefully you guys are excited to see some of the things that are coming. And I'll try to hit these very quickly so we can do some questions and answers with this great group on the call. All right, so one of the areas that we're investing super heavily in and our customers are just really excited about is a relationship optimization. Like we mentioned earlier, we do a great job of pulling in all of this important business data. And what we think it's our responsibility now to sort of analyze that, sort of crunch all that data, and come up with some really good insights to allow you to optimize your relationships with people without you having to think about it. So for instance, one of the things we're working on today is an expression of your relationship health. So based on all of the information that we have, all the interactions that people in your company are having with your customer, let's give you sort of a summary of whether or not your relationship is in a good spot, it's declining, it's getting better, and sort of what you can do to optimize that relationship. This is an area where we're doing a lot of investment today and a lot of thinking. And we're hoping to bring that to you quickly. And then also, surfacing collaborators that may sort of be buried behind the scenes working on Google Docs, but not necessarily working on email and calendars, surfacing some of those collaborators to you. Also giving you a better understanding of when you win a deal in a sales process, what are the key contributors that went into winning that deal? Let's give you a report on that stuff based on all the data that we have in Copper and allow you to use that information to sort of optimize your next deal or optimize some things that are in the pipe. So huge area of investment for us. I'm looking for feedback from people on this call and from all of our customers on how we can make this work and make this better for you. Integrations, this is another area where our customers have told us we can't overinvest, and so we're doing a lot of great things in integrations. We just recently released a large sort of massive set of functionality around custom integrations. So if you want to build custom integrations into the UI of Copper, you can now do that. You can build custom integrations into the activity stream. This is an example of that on the screen right here of sort of a custom action inside of that activity stream actions framework. We're also allowing you to integrate directly into the global actions bar, so you can have an application level component that if you want to surface that in the UI. And there are lots of other areas where if you have something like a backend system or just a custom integration you want to build, your team can build that and surface it inside of Copper. What we're also doing is we're working on a whole new slew of native app integrations. So we have a target sort of by the end of the year of adding 50+ new native integrations with things like accounting apps that you use, support apps and marketing apps. Those of you who are customers today, we have a great MailChimp integration, a great Slack integration. We've got a really great integration with RingCentral. And those are integrations where you don't have to do any work to get those up and running. You just press a button and they're integrated. We have a goal of 50+ new native integrations by the end of the year. And so that's stuff that's coming. And I will definitely poll this audience and poll this team later on to determine what are some of the most important apps to you. So one of the other areas, again, we just recently launched Google Data Studio integration. Our customer base, being extremely Google-centric, was really excited when Google announced Data Studio. If you don't know what Data Studio is a visualization engine. Think of it as sort of a custom report builder or custom visualization builder. That's just part of your sort of G Suite experience. And so if you have data from third-party systems, you can import that into Data Studio. But Copper now has a native Data Studio connector. So if you just press a button inside of Data Studio, you get to connect it to Copper, and all of your Copper data can now be surfaced inside of Data Studio. You could build custom reports, custom visualizations, and you can even embed that Data Studio experience inside of Copper as well, so you don't have to leave Copper in order to view and edit those visualizations. So again, one of our responsibilities to you is we have your relationship data, we have all of the information about who you're talking to and what activities you're doing inside of Copper. We want to give you the right insights tools and visualization tools to bring that information to the rest of your company. Also, one of the things that I'm really passionate about is, I think the old world of CRM was all about telling you what you did in the past. Oh, you had a call, you had a meeting, you sent an email. I think the CRM of the future is not only part of your productivity suite, but the most important thing it can do is tell you what to do. We know you had that call, we know you had that email, but guess what? It's been a week or two since you followed up. And the next thing that you should really do is schedule another calendar event, call this customer, send an email, or take a number of different actions and sort of execute an automated workflow on all of those actions. And so we are working on a relationship suggestions framework, sort of bringing that into the Copper family, so that we can, instead of telling you what you did, tell you what you need to do next, help you build better relationships, and help you support whatever business process you're trying to run, whether that's a partnership, whether that's a deal desk, whether that's a B2B sales process. Whatever you need to do to move that relationship forward, we want to surface directly to you inside of Copper. And then finally, we're not done with what we're doing with Google and with CRM and productivity. The most recent thing that we released with Google was Data Studio. Before that, we introduced Google Hangouts Chat. But now we're going to go a couple of steps farther with Google Docs, for instance, and Drive. You're doing a lot of collaboration. We noticed our customers are doing a lot of collaboration inside of Drive comments, inside of Google Sheets, inside of whether it's docs that you're working on with your customers' proposals. We want those comments and activities to show up inside of Copper as well, so that data can be part of what you see in the activity stream. It can be part of the suggestions we make and the follow-up actions and the workflow that you build inside of Copper. So we're going to be working on that. We also, Google Sheets is moving the ball forward at Google on sort of embedding Google Sheets inside of third-party apps like Copper. And so we are working with the Google Sheets team to sort of bring together a nice new integration, allowing you to actually view and edit sheets inside of Copper as well. So the work on bringing CRM and productivity together once and for all doesn't stop at Copper. We're continuing to move it forward. We've got some great things in the pipe loaded up to bring to you as quickly as we can. So these are things I'm super excited about all of these items. Our engineering team is working extremely hard to pull these things together and deliver these to you over the next, whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, depending on these, the complexity of these items. These are the things that we're working on here today and the things that we're thinking about in Copper product.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, John and Morgan. That was a really awesome overview and dive into the new brand and what's to come for our product. As I mentioned at the beginning, we're going to hop into a Q&A session now. So if you have any questions that came up during the presentation, definitely shoot them into your questions panel at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And I'm going to hop out and hop into questions. The first question is, what is the best way for a user to get trained up? And I can take that one just from a high level. We have a really robust knowledge base, and we actually recently just hired a brand new training team, and they're going to be running, webinars galore that you can access, and you can find all of those on our knowledge base. Which you can if you're inside Copper, inside of our app, there is a little question mark in the top right corner of the screen, and that gives you the link to access that knowledge base. Oh, okay. So this is a good question. This one's for you, Morgan. All right. Why did you choose the name Copper, and what does it mean?
It's a good question. So we chose the name Copper for a variety of reasons. One, it's an element that's been around since beginningless time and will exist beyond all of us. Another thing people don't know about copper is it conducts energy. And that was a really big symbol about relationships. We really don't think of customers as leads or forms. We really think about them as relationships, and that go beyond sometimes your company. And obviously, it's for a lot of folks, it's been a currency for thousands of years in many, many countries, in many cultures. So, and outside of some simplicity, and it was a cool name. So thank you for that, Erin.
Awesome. All right, this one's for you, John, and it's kind of a hot topic here since we are, a Google CRM, but do you think we will ever build integrations into Outlook similar to how we have Gmail?
That is a great question. And look, we started as a Google-centric company. Google has been an amazing partner to us, and our customer base is nearly 100% Google and G Suite centric. So right now our focus is there and making that better. But I think, I've had a number of chats with our customers, and, some of them were sort of in the process of switching between Microsoft products and Google products. And they wanted to have the CRM up and running first. So, anything is possible in the future. And I think for anybody who's interested in Microsoft support, I would love to get your sort of direct feedback through this webinar. You can reach out to, actually anybody on this webinar can reach out to me. I might regret this, but my email is very simple. It's janiano, so J and then my last name @copper.com. If you want to send me feedback about whether you'd like support for Microsoft products or not, send that over to me, and I'd be interested to understand those use cases.
All right. Joni is wondering, this is another one for you, John. Is there a texting component currently or in the future plans?
Yeah, texting. That's a great question. So right now, by the way, if you use an Android phone, we allow you to automatically log and store your text messages and SMS messages with your customers and contacts directly into Copper. So with an Android phone, that currently works. For iPhone and the rest of the iPhone ecosystem, this is an area of investment for us. We are limited a little bit by what Apple allows in their SDK and for iPhone apps. But as that moves forward and as we come up with creative solutions, we'll bring that to iPhone as well.
Awesome. And sorry, apologies, guys. This one was I forgot to mention when we started this question and answer session, but this question's come up. Yes, we absolutely have recorded this webinar, and we'll be sending out the recording of it within the next 24 hours to all attendees. And for those registrants who weren't able to make it, a lot of folks in Australia, for example, I don't blame them for not wanting to get up at 3 a.m. to listen to our webinar. So we'll be shooting it out to everyone via email in the next 24 hours, or you can also find it on our blog. So Anne is wondering, did any functionality or UI UX actually change with the rebrand launch, or was it strictly branding?
So it was strictly branding from a web position, but there will be some updates, as you heard from John. We will be updating some of our colors to fit our new brand palette. We actually leverage Material Design's brand, color system and color theory as well. So it shouldn't be disruptive to anyone. But as you can see from what John's presenting, the product's going to improve in a lot of different ways for all different types of users. You heard on a collaboration, on an insights. So it'll continue that updated look and feel.
Awesome. So John, this will be one for you. Paul asks or says, the data scrape is awesome. Is there any plan to extend this more than the previous 12 months? Also, awesome work on Copper. This is a game changer in my business.
Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, so we are always looking for ways to expand the data scrape. I think just for people on the call, when you first sign up for Copper, we do go back in and we, as you give us permission, of course, we go in and we pull in, like I said, we build your CRM database from emails and calendar events and contacts. We do only go back to 12 months of history. And most of our customers actually like this and enjoy this because it adds some freshness to the CRM, it adds some freshness to their business. But we are investigating, and I think this would be interesting for us to do, is to give you sort of the option of how far back you want to go. If you really do have, 5-10 years of business history that is relevant, you want to pull into your CRM, I think we should give you the option to do that. And so that's an area that we will invest in. And I appreciate the feedback on that.
All right. And then John, another one for you. There's a question, when are we going to get improved functionality for photographing business cards from your iPhone into the database?
Good question. Yeah, we do have some partners that work there as well today. We do have some functionality, particularly on the Android device. I think we do have we have actually a number of teams working specifically on the mobile apps. And I know that business card scanning and also other automated ways and automated text scanning that maybe are not business cards are on their roadmap. I can't give you the explicit date on when we'll make some improvements there, but it's definitely something the mobile team is working on. And you can always feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll connect you with our mobile app product manager to get some more details to you on that.
Great. So Michelle is curious, if we already had ProsperWorks, do we need to do something new with the new brand?
No, I think it's a great question. And we did send out a variety of communication, and we're happy to resend some of that to you. The main things is that if you had any aliases that you were doing internally, I don't know if you have a certain Slack channel, we always recommend people rename that. People can still log in the same ways they did, and just making sure that everyone has access to the links where our help center is and how to contact us. But there's nothing you need to do presently.
All right. And John, for you, Michael is curious, do you have a LinkedIn integration that will merge LinkedIn chats into Copper?
Awesome question. I like the thinking. Right now, LinkedIn doesn't have an API for that companies are available to work with. So I think it's a great area of investment for us. We do see a lot of customers doing business conversations within LinkedIn. And we do work with the teams at LinkedIn on the product side as well. So I think as they move their capabilities forward to allow their customers, in this case you, to access that data via APIs, we would love to be a part of that, and we would love to bring that into Copper. That just represents the type of thing that we are committed to, sort of automated scraping and automated ingestion. And so as soon as we can do it, I think it'll be a hot item on our roadmap, and I think it would benefit a lot of customers.
All right, John, sorry you're in the hot seat again. We have a question from Luis. He's curious if we have future plans for a WhatsApp integration.
Yeah, great question. Particularly, our customers that are across the world, particularly South America, and there are a few other regions where WhatsApp is extremely popular. We get a lot of requests for that. WhatsApp, and I hate to answer the question the same way. WhatsApp is one of those partners that doesn't quite yet have open APIs, although WhatsApp just recently did open up their APIs. So that traditionally we weren't able to do that in the past, but they have opened up their APIs to select partners, and I think it's just a matter of time before we're able to work with WhatsApp and pull that information in the same way that we do with text, for instance, on the Android devices. So I love WhatsApp. I'm a huge fan. I use it with my friends and family across the world. And I think it is becoming, or has become, an important business communication tool. And so we'll keep moving the ball forward there. No dates are on that, but it is an area of investment we're looking at.
All right, let's see. I think in the interest of time, this will be our last question, but definitely reach out to us, info@copper.com, if there were questions that we didn't get to. Our product specialists are absolutely more than happy to help you out with those. And the last one, John, this is another one for you, but are there any plans in the future for email drip campaign functionality?
Great question. Email drip campaign is interesting, and there's so many tools out there to allow you to create email drips. And so, here at Copper, we don't like to rebuild something that's already been built. And we didn't just go ahead and copy the CRMs of old and hope to win the hearts and minds of that old, legacy sort of customer base. We like to do things differently. And so what we are finding, and I think I talked a little bit about it in the roadmap section, is that we're finding that a lot of end users, even in a smaller, let's say 5 to 10 person sales team, the end users are the ones who, the salespeople or the relationship managers are the ones who are responsible for the communication and follow up with each and every customer. And so we want to allow those reps, instead of just scheduling one meeting, why don't you create a cadence and schedule a number of different meetings across the next 30, 60 days? Or instead of sending one email, why don't you send an email, a group of emails starting on a certain day? And that begins to look like an email drip campaign, but you'll notice the difference is it's very sort of one-to-one relationship focus, and it puts the control in the hands of the relationship maker. And so these are areas we're definitely investing, and it's not just email, it's across all the different communication channels. So if this is something that you're passionate about, I'd love to have just even a one-on-one conversation with you to determine what you're thinking and how we can help make that better in copper than it's ever been in the past.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so very much, everyone, for joining today and having patience with our technical glitch at the beginning. But Morgan and John, thanks so much for sharing your insight on copper and our road ahead. And as I mentioned before, we will be sending out a recording of this presentation within the next 24 hours after we wrap up here. So keep an eye out for that, and feel free to pass it on to anyone that wasn't able to make it, or they can also access it via our blog. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.